is another beautiful day here in Toronto. The summer's just been super nice, like really nice. Probably one of the best summers weather-wise in a long time. But at the same time, it's kind of nice when fall comes around and you get into normal routines and rhythms and stuff like that. Yeah, I like that too. It's kind of nice. You know what? Let me stop for a second. Sometimes I kind of get this pressure of like, I have to do something because it's so nice outside. I have to go outside. And then after a while, that pressure kind of starts getting annoying. Like I just want to sit at home and watch a movie or something like that. But I have this pressure of like, no, it's summer, I gotta go outside. So again, it's kind of nice that fall is coming. Speaking of summer ending, I decided to do just a sale on all of my presets, courses, everything. A back to school sale because, you know, a lot of you are going to back to school. And yeah, sales are always fun. So all my stuff is on sale right now. Check out the links down below for the presets and the courses and all that. But enough chit chat. Let's go to the real reason why you probably clicked on this video. Alright guys, I bought a new camera, and it's been a really long time since I bought a new camera. I bought a new camera. It's this one that I've been actually filming this whole time with, the Sony A7M3. Yeah, I ended up buying a new camera. I'm not switching everything over to this camera yet. And let's talk about the reasons why I did buy this camera and the things that were kind of keeping me from buying it. This is kind of like the real world test number 2, where I'm actually gonna film a couple more videos using this camera, the Sony A7M3, and see how it goes, because that's when you end up finding what are the little quirks, the little things that start annoying you, and the things that you really like about using it on a daily basis. Funny enough, I couldn't get this camera anywhere. I tried so hard to get it. I asked the camera stores here in Toronto and none of them could like get me kind of ahead in line because they're all just back ordered. I asked Sony couldn't get me one. Nobody could get me one. I literally had to go on the internet, scour the internet and find one on Kijiji. It's like a Craigslist, you know, a place where you buy and sell stuff. I found a guy, I think his name was Andrew. Was his name Andrew? I don't know. Anyway, really nice guy, and he sold me this Sony A7M3, so now I have it and I can try it out some more. For those of you who have been watching my videos, I actually tested it out in Maui. I had this camera for a week, so I got to test it out a little bit when it first came out, and I was really impressed with it, but there were some things that kind of scared me at the same time, scared me from switching away from my Canon cameras that I've been using up until this point here on YouTube. But I'm the type of person that wants to always push the limits. I want to be making the best videos possible that I can make with the resources that I have, and part of that is sometimes buying new gear. And for me, there's a few things that I really get annoyed about the Canon cameras, especially their dynamic range. That was one of the big things, and this guy has a lot better dynamic range. Even right now, we should have a lot better exposure of the background and me. Everything should be pretty much exposed. Nothing should be crazy overexposed. So I want to see if the Sony A7M3 is gonna make for better videos on my channel. First of all, I can film more 4K stuff and the dynamic, all that stuff. Yeah, I want to see, is this gonna make my videos any better? But the big question I think is, why is this camera, this specific camera, so popular right now? Why is it sold out everywhere? Why is it on back order? Like, it's been on back order for like months now, I feel like. It's been a really long time and still you can't get your hands on this. You can't just go to the store and just buy it right now. So here are my thoughts why I think this camera is probably the hottest camera of the year, by probably a long shot even. And first off, I would say it's the price. I think the price range is in that perfect sweet spot where it's not crazy expensive and it's not crazy cheap. It's somewhere in between. It's a couple $1,000s, so it's kind of in a sweet spot. Most people can over time save up that amount of money and buy a camera like this and not feel horrible that they spent, you know, the amount of a decent car on a camera. It's probably the best bang for buck camera right now. Another reason I would say 4K, I mean, pretty much everything has 4K nowadays, but a lot of the Canon cameras don't really do 4K very well, at least. So this camera has 4K. Dynamic range, I already mentioned, that's a really big one for me. This one I think is like 13, 14 stops dynamic range, whereas the Canons are probably only like 10 stops, which is like way worse. Doesn't sound like a big difference, but it's a big difference in the amount of, if you don't know what dynamic range is, first of all, you can look it up right now, but basically the difference between the brightest areas and the darkest areas, it can capture a bigger amount in that. I'm explaining this really badly. Okay, if you're filming a window inside your home, the window usually blows out. The more dynamic range you have, the better chances you have of keeping the exposure inside, and that window, it might actually even be exposed if you have a ton of dynamic range. I don't know if that was any better. Anyways, look it up. Next we have the low light. We all know that Sony cameras are really capable in low light, and this camera is no exception. I would say it's right up there with the Sony A7M3, maybe even better in some ways. Like it's interesting. I've seen a lot of the comparisons, and it does like insanely well in low light. And I remember when the Sony A7S, yeah, the first one, A7S, came out, and I saw this video a guy filmed in just moonlight, just using moonlight. He filmed this whole video, and it was super cool and weird, trippy looking, because you've never seen a video just lit by the moon. So it was really cool to see. This camera, huge low light beast, probably one of the best out there. And then I think actually one of the biggest is the fact that it does 120 frames per second without a crop. It's full frame, it's the whole thing. So it's a really good slow motion camera too. And with the rise of YouTube and people like Peter McKinnon, 120 frames per second is a really popular thing. And it's not quite the same as something like the 1DX2. It's not quite as good, but it's really high quality. And it's something that a lot of people are wanting right now, that nice 120 frames per second for that, you know, cinematic B-roll and all that good stuff. So lots of really great things about this camera, but there were some things that kind of put me off or kind of scared me. And first of all, it was the LCD screen. I wish it just had a flip LCD screen. If it had a flip LCD, I would be so happy. This camera would be insanely good, but not being able to see if I'm in focus right now, that hurts. I'm not sure if I can fully trust this autofocus yet. So yeah, I would really like to be able to see myself. Speaking of autofocus, that's one thing that a lot of people like about this camera, but coming from Canon, it's a downgrade in autofocus. So that was one of the biggest things that kind of scared me, not having a flip LCD screen, and then the autofocus not being as good as Canon. So can I trust this camera? Am I in focus right now? I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and see if this is in focus or not. And then B, the color science. The color science in the Sonys isn't quite as good as Canon's, in the sense that Canon is kind of nice looking right out of the camera, whereas Sony takes a lot more work, especially since I'm filming in S-Log2, so it's a really log flat profile. There's gonna be a lot of color grading. How much work is that gonna be to get it to a good place where the colors are really nice? And can I get them to the same place? That's a big question that I'm gonna have to answer. But all that to say, I'm gonna give this camera a real shot. I'm gonna be filming the next couple videos, probably just using this camera. I'm gonna try my best, and we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see, are my videos better quality? Is it nicer having them in 4K, the dynamic range, all of that stuff? Or is it gonna be a downgrade? Let's see, we're gonna find out. A little experiment here on the channel. So yeah, that's my new camera update, and if you're curious about what lens I'm using, it's the 16-35 f2.8 Sony lens. That's kind of my go-to lens for all things YouTube. It's a really nice range. I really like it. All right, so that's my new camera update, and actually I've been thinking about trying to kind of fix this no flip LCD screen issue thing, and like building a little bit of a cage with a monitor. I want to get the smallest monitor I can possibly find, put it front facing so I can see when I'm filming, and maybe that would fix this whole no flip LCD screen thing. I don't know. I think it'd be an interesting thing to try out. If you guys are interested in that, comment down below, and maybe I'll get to that. I thought while I still have you guys, I could give you guys a little bit of a tour of the office. We've moved around some things, and there's some new little additions. Let me show you. First of all, we decided to move things around a little bit. If you guys, those of you who have seen the office before, the desks used to be kind of right here side by side. Now we've moved them to either side. This works way better, and that means we can still ride our one wheels around, you know. Because you got to make space for one wheel riding in your office. Also, very important, I got some plants. This one's really cool. I don't know what this one's called, but I really like this plant. I like how like clean and nice it is. Big fan of this plant. I also got some smaller ones here. I definitely want a lot more plants, but I also need to be a little bit better at watering them. For those of you who saw my, like, way back when I had my home studio, I had a cactus at one point, and one day I just came in and it was just like, I didn't even know cactuses could die like that. I thought they just last forever without water. So yeah, this is kind of the office setup right now. There's still work to be done. We still need to get stuff on the wall. We got the little Dope Squad sign up there. It's not on right now, but we still have some work to do. Secret project will be here. Yeah, more to come on that. Coffee table we still need. We got our couches in here. That was a big pain. You guys remember that, but overall I like the way that this office is coming together, and yeah, it's just really nice to have a space to work out of. I like it. So yeah, that's the new little office tour. Well, it's not new, but modified office tour. Yeah, I'm gonna check out this footage now. I'm really curious to see if it's holding up, because this is the first video that I've made since the Maui one on this camera, so let's see how it goes. But first, just a little bit more riding, just a little bit. I've gotten a little bit better on this thing. And then of course I lose my balance.